Welcome back to the Beautifully Intentional podcast. Okay, so in this episode, I had done a poll on my Instagram a couple months ago asking what your guys' favorite episodes are, so I know what kind of types of episodes to do, and then also what episodes you guys would like to hear. And I had a follower ask a very an awesome question. I loved this question. Her question was, how do you let Dustin show up for you, Dustin and God show up for you when you've always showed up for yourself, period. So we are going to dive into that question, and I'm going to break it down for you exactly how I do that, why I think this question was so important. And yeah, so here we go. Welcome to the Beautifully Intentional podcast, where I share stories to encourage you to live a more intentional life. Whether it's in your motherhood journey, your friendships, your 9-to-5 job, or pursuing just radical dreams. I believe that sometimes we can just get stuck in the mundane craziness of life, and all it takes is one encouraging word to give us hope to live for something greater. I share stories of living intentional through the simple things like self-care, clean spaces, parenthood, and going after your dreams. My hope is that at the end of every episode, there's a fire set deep within your soul that says, I can do this. And that maybe today is your day to find the beauty in the things that go unnoticed and start living a more intentional life. This is Cassandra Lau, and welcome to Beautifully Intentional. When I read that question, I immediately thought, dang, that's a good question. I mean, for as long as I can remember, I have been doing my own laundry, my own hair, cooking for myself, working the second I was old enough, paying for all of my own insurance, gas, all of my own bills, my own cell phone bill, getting myself through school, graduating high school, no parents there, getting married, no parents there. You name it, I've had to show up for myself. And even thinking back to my wedding day, and I'll share that story in another episode, actually next month, but I specifically remember even in the planning stages of our wedding, not letting people show up for me. I handmade every single centerpiece. I went out and I personally bought every single piece for every single decoration, everything that you saw with your eyes, I bought myself, I decorated myself, I made myself, all of it. The party favors or the little guest favors or whatever. We handmade the wedding invitations. And granted, this was 13 years ago, so it was just there was no Etsy shops to buy stuff from other people hand making it. So I just did everything myself. And it wasn't until the day before the wedding that I looked around and I was like, there is no way humanly, physically, it's not humanly, physically possible to finish all that had to be done. So I literally had to call my friends. I'm like, look, please come help me. I'm way in over my head. And it's not like my friends didn't offer to help. They totally did. In fact, when we were making the invitations, one of my really good friends who was super good at scrapbooking, she made me let her help. But I don't know. I just had that mentality my whole life that's no, I've got this. So the whole wedding planning, I pretty much told them no, I've got this. No, I've got this. I can do it. Even the cake, my friend's mom made our cake. And I didn't want her to be burdened by what I wanted. I wanted the cake to have these seashells covering the whole thing. We had a beach theme wedding. And so seashells covered the whole thing. And she was able to make these chocolate seashells. And then she had this special stuff on it that you would paint them. And even that, it was I couldn't just let her do it. So I'm making my own chocolate seashells for my own cake, and nowadays it's you just buy it. You just buy the thing, But I don't know, there was just, as long as I could physically do it, I just showed up for myself. I didn't want to inconvenience anybody else. It wasn't that, anyway. So when I got that question, how do you let Dustin or God show up for you? I'm man, it was it hit me that do I? Do I let them? And it I had to sit for a minute and really think about the answers to those questions. And so first I'll tackle answering how I let Dustin show up. And this was hard. Like when we first got together, he would constantly tell me, like, if you just want me to help, you just have to ask. He always thought that I would just hint around at wanting him to do something for me, like in a passive aggressive way. Like I would make a comment about how much stuff I had to get done, and he would always just look at me and say, if you need help, all you have to do is ask for it, But it was never me crying out for help. That was just me talking out loud about how I felt and how much was on my plate, but that I never expected him to do it for me. I 100% was so used to doing everything for myself that I wouldn't even consider asking for his help. And I truly just naturally would kick into gear and just do it myself. And I wouldn't be secretly mad at him. I wouldn't be like wishing he would help. It was just my mentality. Especially when we first got married. This was pre-kids and all of that and pre-working. I just would do everything. And he was constantly like, if you need help, just ask for help. And I'm like, I don't physically, technically need help. So I'm not going to ask for help because I don't want to like bother you, I don't even really know how I started letting him in to show up. Other than just, I think, being ready to receive, because that's what my soul needed. I think I finally had gotten to a place of like, probably just tired of doing it all for myself and just kind of burnt out. So it was easy for me to let him as long as he showed up without me asking. And it's not that I'm like a control freak and I can't let other people help me. It's that I don't want to burden someone else to help me. I for sure wasn't the kind that would push Dustin away for helping. I just didn't naturally seek it out. Especially if I felt like I could totally handle it. Not to say that I wasn't stressed about it, but it was just that like I was totally capable of accomplishing. Does that all make sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Okay. I think it had been ingrained in me for so long just to do, like, I don't know, because so for the first 5 to 7 years leading up to meeting Dustin, I ran our whole household at home. Like, I was in charge of doing all of the grocery shopping, all of the banking, running all of my mom's errands, but then still keeping up with my personal social life, still going to 3 to 4 youth groups a week, like different nights of the week, friends' houses every single weekend. And I just had to manage like getting everything done that I needed to get done and then still live my life. Like, I remember I was hanging out with my, at the time, boyfriend, and my mom called and she's like, we need groceries. And I literally had to stop what I was doing, go to my house, drive to my house, do the grocery shopping, go back to my boyfriend's house. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, like, just did not understand. He's like, why don't you just hang up? Why don't you tell her to kick rocks? Like, go do it herself. But I think I had just been so conditioned to believe that this was just how I was supposed to function. That like things didn't get done unless I got them done, and I had to take care of everybody else, and it was just my responsibility. I don't know. So I kind of always ran our home that way too. Like once me and Dustin got married, I kind of just always ran the home that way. And honestly, I still kind of struggle with it in a small degree, but I've come a long way. Like, I think it took me actually going back to work. So for the first 5 years that we had kids, I stayed home with them. And I did all the laundry, I did all the cleaning, and Dustin has always been a big help. Like, he would just jump in from time to time and help. He's always been the cook in our family. He's always kind of been in charge of trash. Like, there's just things like that. But it wasn't until I went back to work, and I want to say a couple of months in, and every time I would come home from working all day long, the house would be destroyed because he's over here trying to like handle the kids, and then the kids are destroying it. And granted, they were young. They were like 18 months, like 3.5 and 4.5. Like, it was right around there. I don't know. But so they would just destroy it, and it would cause so much anxiety for me to come home from working all day, then to a destroyed environment, and then knowing that like piles of laundry were stacked up everywhere all the time. Clean, dirty, you name it. Like there's always laundry in the washer. There was always cleaning that had to be done. The bathrooms were never clean. Like it was just driving me insane. So I finally I wouldn't say lost it, okay? But I finally was like, I literally can't. I cannot come home to a destroyed house. I can't do it. So we need to create a system. I need your help. So I'm going to make a calendar. So I made a calendar of, Mondays are the girls' laundry day. They're in charge of their laundry. Tuesdays is Jet's laundry day. He's in charge of his laundry. Yes, he was like 2, okay? And Wednesday is going to be our laundry day. Thursday is going to be sheets and towels, yada, yada, whatever. And I'm like, I cannot come home to a destroyed house. So here is an actual physical schedule that I think would help you. So that when the kids get home from school, like by 2 p.m., this needs to be done. By 4 p.m., like if you start dinner by 4, then they should clean up by 5 or whatever. You know what I mean? I created a system and he was like, okay, like wide-eyed, like, okay, like, no, totally, no, like we've got this, And I'm like, you say I need to ask for help, I'm begging for help. Like I can't do this anymore. So then we created a system and now we both have grace for each other. It's like there's days where I am so busy doing other things that I can't get to the chore list that's on that day. And I know same for him. But at this point, it's like we pull equal share of the responsibilities because we both work. So yeah, I think that I kind of just had started letting him into helping me because it was good for my soul. And then it was like I got to a point where I needed the help and I had to ask for it. And that was super hard for me to do because I never wanted him to feel like I didn't appreciate everything that he did. I knew he wasn't lazy. I knew that he wasn't doing it on purpose. I knew that he wasn't careless. But I knew that if I wanted help in the way that I needed it, I had to get to a point where I asked for help. And that was really hard for me, really hard. I actually had to kind of learn that lesson too. When I was pregnant with Jet, I had something called placenta previa, and so I had to be put on bed rest for 6 weeks, and that was so freaking hard because I felt great. I actually wish that I felt sick so that it made me asking for help a little easier. But to ask people for help when I felt fully capable, that was really hard. I had actually Monica, the one who was on last week's episode, she came over and vacuumed my entire house like a saint, and she had a baby on her hip and everything. Like she was awesome. And then we had so many friends that would just come and bring dinner, and it was so hard for me because I wanted to do it so bad and I felt like I was inconveniencing these people. Dustin had to do so much for me. He would get so mad at me because he would watch me, like I would get up from the couch where I'm supposed to lay all hours of the day. I had bathroom privileges only. So I would get up to go to the bathroom, and on the way to the bathroom, I would just pick up stuff along the way, and he would get so mad. He's like, stop cleaning up. I'm like, okay. So he eventually bought me one of those claws, like those trash claws, so I wouldn't have to bend down. It was the act of bending down that was disrupting the placenta. So on the way to the bathroom, I would just get one of those claws. Like I'm telling you, I couldn't let it go. Like I couldn't make him do everything or make my friends come over and do stuff for me. I had a problem. But anyway, but now that I feel like my plate is so much more full, I know that it requires the assistance of our whole family. This is a whole family unit. It's not just like, how do I let Dustin show up for me? Not only did I have to beg him for help, but even the kids. I'm like, guys, like we all live in this house. Your mom and dad, we both work and we both run our own businesses, and we want to have fun with you guys, and we want to be able to have that free time. So everyone has to pitch in every day. Like there's no, okay, great, I'm going to clean up after you. I'm going to clean your guys' room. I'm going to do your laundry. Like they have to participate too. So it just kind of, I think over the years, just naturally happened out of necessity. And then there's the question of, how do I allow God to show up for me? This one is interesting too. I think that I have always had this heightened awareness of God's presence in my life. Like, I don't know, I I don't know how else to explain it other than tell you some stories. Because anytime I had a crazy experience, like, which I've had a million, I just always knew he was there. Like, I could look back and think, dang, like God was there. Do you want to hear a good story? Oh my gosh. Okay, so this one time I was at Taco Bell, and it was me and my mom's friend, and we were getting like food for the whole family, and it was kind of late. It was like 10 o'clock at night. They're right before they were going to close, and I'm standing there, and there's this guy next to me, and he turns to me and he says, I would get out of here if I was you. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, well, okay, I'm hungry and I don't have my food, so I'm not going anywhere. And so I just kind of stood there, and something in me was like, something's not right. So a couple minutes had gone by, and I looked at him. I'm like, why do I have to go? Like, what is it? You know? And he was like, just trust me, like, just go. And I'm looking at them making my food. I'm like, they're so close. I'm like, okay, I just need my food though. So they hand him his order, and he just pushes it to the side and just still stands there. And he's like, I'm telling you, leave. And I'm like, okay, all right. I can see that they're almost done though. And then the worker opens like one of these doors that lets them into like where the cash registers are. And he says, well, here we go. Go now. And he takes out his gun, and he like is robbing the place. So I'm like, okay, yeah, you got it. Like, I'm out of here. So we leave, and on the way out, we are like stuck in this cul-de-sac, like parking lot. I don't know. And cul-de-sac. Did I say that right? Cul-de-sac. Yeah, cul-de-sac parking lot. And we almost run him over with our car. We like call the cops. They come down there. Anyway, my whole point to all this is that in that moment that I'm driving away, I'm like, dude, that guy could have killed me. Like, I looked him up and down. I literally memorized exactly what he was wearing. I could tell you right now what he was wearing. He was wearing a khaki tan hat. I know his skin color. He was wearing these camo pants. He was wearing these black boots with these red laces. Like, I know exactly black shirt. Like, I know exactly what he looks like. And he saw me make eye contact with him multiple times. Like, there was no reason why he had a weapon. Like, he could have killed me. And granted, like, plenty of people rob places and they don't actually kill people. But I just remember driving away like, dude, God, like, I felt his presence. I felt like he protected me in that moment. For whatever reason, this robber like had grace on my life. Like, why? You know? He didn't even have to warn me. He just didn't even want me to be around for it or be present for it. Like, he just didn't want me to have to witness it. I don't know. So there's been so many crazy stories like that. Even like, I don't know which episode. It was probably episode maybe 2 or 3 where I talk about my life growing up and when I had to get in the car with a stranger. That wasn't the only time. I've had to get in cars with strangers when I was a teenager all the time because there's no cell phones. My cars would break down because I did not have reliable vehicles. I didn't have a dad to call to come tow me. I didn't have a cell phone. Even if I did have a dad, I didn't have a cell phone to call him, you know? So I was constantly getting in cars with strangers. And there was just always this like sense of like, this one is okay. There's plenty of guys that would pull over and they're like, do you need a ride? I'm like, heck no, because you're going to kill me. But then other people that would pull up and they're like, do you need a ride? And there was just this sense of peace that like, yes, I actually do need a ride. Thank you so much for showing up, you know? So I feel like there was those moments where, I always felt God's presence, and I knew that he was showing up for me in ways that were like supernatural. And then there were just this crazy lesson that he taught me. It's probably the most memorable, life-changing moment for me of when God taught me how to let the body or humanity, whatever you want to call it, show up for me. And I'll explain. So I was a brand spanking new mom, like first time mom to Zuri. And I was young. I'm 24 years old. She was 3 weeks old. And we knew when I was pregnant, Dustin had this gig out in Nashville and they had invited me to come. And I knew that Zuri was only going to be 3 weeks old, but I'm a new mom, or I was pregnant. So I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I just thought to myself, surely this can't be too hard, right? To take a 3-week-old across the country. And we knew that the people that were having Dustin out, they booked all of his like tickets, and we were having to buy my tickets separately, and I couldn't get on the same flight as him. So I knew I was going to have to leave. It was either the next day or a few hours. No, it was a few hours later than he was, or a different airport. I don't know. I don't remember. But so I was going to be traveling with a 3-week-old. I was the first of my friends to have a kid, so I had nobody to give me experience. The internet was out, but it wasn't like right now on Instagram, you can ask a question and you can get a million answers. Like I see parents all the time ask the question, going to be traveling with a newborn, any tips? You know, when Zuri was born, this was before blogging took off. This was before you can ask a question in a poll on Instagram. So I had to just go for it. So I didn't pack a stroller because I didn't think that I could use one. I didn't want to have to carry it onto the plane. So I'm carrying Zuri in this front carrier. I knew that I had to have her car seat, so I'm carrying her car seat. I had my luggage. I had her luggage. I had just got her to latch on to nursing, so I didn't have any bottles. I had I did know enough that when you take a newborn on a plane, you have to feed them during takeoff because of their ears. So I had pumped 1 bottle full of milk and and to be able to give her during takeoff. So I have all my stuff. I'm dragging all my stuff. I'm going through, TSA, the whole deal. I get on the plane, and mind you, all along the way, people are asking like, do you need help with anything? And I'm like, no, I've got this. Can I help you carry something? I'm like, no, I've got this. Like, I can't tell you how many people offered to help and how many times I said like, no, I've got this, because I didn't want to inconvenience strangers, and surely I could do it. I'm the kid's mom. Surely I can carry my luggage, her car seat. I also brought the Boppy pillow so that she could like relax on it. I don't know. So I'm carrying this pillow around. And the child, So we get on the airplane. We are at takeoff. I drop the bottle. So a full bottle of breast milk opens, spills, and is running down the entire aisle of the plane. I'm like, dear God, help me. And so now I don't have any milk. And that was the milk that I had pumped to be able to feed her. So now I don't have any milk in me. So she's screaming bloody murder. I'm trying to feed her. She's not latching on. I have no milk. The milk now is running down the aisle. And I'm stuck in between 2 large guys. So me and Zuri stuck in the middle, 2 large guys on either side. I, sure enough, like probably maybe 10 minutes into the flight, she has a complete blowout, like diarrhea up her back. I'm not kidding, literally up to her neck. So then I'm trying to change this poopy baby stuck in between 2 large men, and and so I'm changing the baby, and then she's crying. It was a nightmare. So I get off the plane. I'm dragging all of the stuff. I now have no milk. Milk's down the aisle of the plane. She's pooped her pants, like the whole deal. Mind you, I don't think I ever talked about any of my birth stories on here, but with her, I know I probably have men that listen to this. I mean, most likely it's women, most of them, but I know that I have a couple of dudes. Anyway, I will spare you rough details. Just know that I was barely even walking by 3 weeks old. By the time she was 3 weeks old, I was barely even walking. So I'm over here in excruciating pain, carrying all of her stuff. I get into the bathroom and I just cry. I'm like, I don't know. Oh, because we had 2 connecting flights that were getting us to Tennessee. So I'm like, I don't even know that I can make it on another flight. Like, there's literally no physical way that I'm going to make it there in one piece, let alone I'm never doing this again. Literally never doing this. I'm never going to fly with her again. And so, in that moment, I'm literally in a bathroom stall. I'm crying. She's crying. I have poopy clothes. I have no milk. It's just a mess. And I feel like I hear God say, like, let my people and let the body show up for you. And I was like, okay. Like, this is like a moment here where I'm just going to have to take the help. Like, it was clear as day. I'm hearing God, like, take the help. Let my people be there for you. I created the body like this on purpose. Like, so anyway, So the very next flight I get on the plane, and the flight attendant says, like, would you like to sit in a seat that has a multiple seats so you can spread out? I'm like, yes. Okay, so my first yes. So she gives me a whole row to myself. And then she looks at me and she's like, if you ever have to go to the bathroom, if you have to do anything, I will hold your baby for you. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, because on the first flight, I literally held her 3-week-old baby. Well, I'm trying to go to the bathroom myself. Like, I want you to go home and try, like, holding a 3-week-old baby and try pulling down your pants inside of an airplane bathroom. Like, it is no joke. So she says, if you need to go to the bathroom, I will hold your baby. I have this other guy, as I'm walking on the plane, automatically grab my stuff. Like, I will hold that car seat for you. And I just had to say yes, yes, yes. Like the flight attendant, I'm like, I do have to go to the bathroom. Can you hold my baby? Did I have a small panic attack in the bathroom that I just handed over my 3-week-old to a stranger? Yes, I did. But at the end of the day, where was she going to go? What was she going to do with her? You know what I mean? And sure enough, I came out and she was perfectly fine and handed her back to me perfectly fine. But I had to say yes. So the plane lands and this lady comes up to me and she's like, I'm going to help you. Give me the car seat. Give me your diaper bag. Literally didn't even ask. I didn't even have the opportunity to say yes or no. She literally said, I'm going to help you. So she grabs all of my stuff and she's like, follow me. I'm like, okay. So I'm following her. She had to have seen the fact that I was a child who just had a child. And that like, yeah. So anyway, so I follow her. She takes me to this golf cart thing. And she's like, I will, she puts all of the stuff on there and she says, they will take you wherever you need to go. So just tell them where you want to go, and any other flight that you need to get on, you flag down somebody in this golf cart and they will take you wherever you need to go. So it takes me to the next flight, which was amazing because I was literally barely walking by this point. And so to be able to have somebody, I was in so much pain. Like I couldn't imagine I was going to walk now across the whole, airport to get to my next connecting flight. So this golf cart person drove me all the way to my next gate, which was amazing. And then I get there, I'm sitting there, I have her, I have the diaper bag, I have the car seat, I have, whatever carry-ons, I have all the stuff. And this other guy says, same thing. They call our names. I stand up. He literally just comes up, grabs all of my stuff. And he was like, I'll carry this all for you. Carries it on the plane. He sat next to me and just talked to Zuri the whole rest of the way. Just super, super sweet, super kind. Like, do you need any help? Like, and then just even trying to be relatable. Cause I'm there now having to breastfeed a baby next to this guy, and he's like, my wife breastfed. Like, if you need privacy, like I'll look out the window, like it was just super, super sweet. So yeah, it was just so crazy that it was like once God had said, like, you were not meant to do this alone, and you need to let people help you because I created people to help people. It was like all of a sudden now that I had that mindset and my heart was in that place to receive it, I saw all the helpers, and all of the helpers came out of the woodworks to help me. I mean, that flight attendant, I could not have done it without her. I literally couldn't have. That lady who helped me carry the stuff and flag down the golf cart, I couldn't have done it without her. That guy that helped carry my stuff onto the next flight, I couldn't have done it without him. And so here's the deal. I don't care if you don't even believe in God. The truth is, we were never meant to do this life alone. If we were, then we would have no desire for love or to be loved. We would never feel loneliness. Like, the fact that we can feel lonely proves that we were created for relationship. The fact that we have, all of us have different gifts, and that there's not one person on this planet that is good at every single thing. That proves that we in fact need each other. Therefore, we were designed in our nature to be there for each other. And when we build up walls, when we think we can do it all on our own, all we do is keep out those that we need or that need us. Now, that's not to say that we need to let everyone in or that we need to be there for everyone all the time. But man, If you have a hard time letting people show up for you just to be there, to be helpful, then you aren't living in freedom. There is freedom found in letting community, the body, mankind help you to be the best version of yourself. Likewise, in God's design for your life, He gave you gifts that you were meant to show up for other people. And when humans fail you, because they will, God continually shows up, never failing, if you will trust Him. He's always He's always there. And it doesn't always make sense. I don't have a lot of answers. There's plenty of times where I can look at situations and say, God, why aren't you showing up in the way that I think He needs to show up? And I don't have those answers. But I do know that I was never meant to have all the answers, and I have to be okay with that. I have to be okay with just knowing that I have to offer to people around me what I have, and I have to allow people to show up for me. That makes sense. So I just encourage you that if you find yourself struggling with needing to do it all, I encourage you to let it go. Delegate, ask for help, especially if you're a mom. Look outward at what you can offer to the people around you, to the lives around you, and show up for them. Where can you be the gift giver? We need each other. We are better together, and we were never meant to do this journey alone. And I feel it, and I am here for it, because I know what it's like to carry burdens of just showing up for yourself and not letting those people in. I know that how trapped and how suffocating that can feel. And so I'm here to tell you that by opening up your life to say, I need help, and allowing those people to help you, you will be so far beyond blessed. And those people who want to offer help to you will do the same. I am so blessed whenever I have an opportunity to help somebody else. I will never pass up an opportunity. Do you need help? What can I help you with? Because I know what that's like. I know what it's like to have somebody offer to take something off of your plate. So be that person. And likewise, be the person ready to receive, because we were meant to be there for each other. So anyway, until next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you found this episode inspiring or encouraging and just life-giving. And as always, I appreciate any and all positive feedback, keynote positive feedback. So tag me, message me, go on iTunes and leave a review, rate, subscribe, because that's how podcasts stay alive. And I didn't even mean to rhyme there, so that works. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at beautifully.intentional, and that's where I hang out. That's where you can kind of see me in my own personal life. And yeah, so thank you so much for listening in. Until next time.